Welcome to a cozy story time, What Burnout Taught Me About Self-Care. This isn't just another self-care checklist. It's a real, personal journey through the exhaustion, frustration, and quiet lessons burnout forced me to learn. Grab your favorite blanket and settle in, because I'm about to share how hitting my lowest point became the unexpected doorway to genuine rest, balance, and finally choosing myself. Let's begin. Today, we will talk about a cozy story time, What Burnout Taught Me About Self-Care. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. The slow creep of burnout, when you don't even realize it's happening. Burnout is rarely a sudden explosion. For me, it was a quiet erosion, a gradual chipping away at my mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. It wasn't like one day I woke up and realized I was burnt out. It was the slow buildup of constant deadlines, a packed schedule, and the relentless need to say yes to everything. I thought I was being productive, pushing myself towards success, not realizing that the price I was paying was my peace. I normalized exhaustion. I dismissed warning signs like irritability, headaches, and emotional detachment because I assumed they were just part of life. I glorified being busy without questioning the cost. Burnout crept into my mornings where I woke up already tired, into my evenings where I couldn't enjoy rest because I was guilty about not doing more, and into weekends where my brain wouldn't switch off. 2. The emotional crash, feeling hollow in the midst of productivity. When the crash finally came, it wasn't loud. It was eerily quiet. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt empty. Everything I used to enjoy, reading, cooking, spending time with friends, started to feel like chores. I became indifferent to things that once filled me with joy. I went through the motions of my life, ticking tasks off a to-do list, but I was completely detached. I was functioning on autopilot, but my heart wasn't in any of it. I started canceling plans, not out of defiance, but out of sheer emotional fatigue. Even when I wasn't working, I wasn't truly resting. I was simply existing in a dull, numb state where nothing felt worth the energy. This emotional flatline was what finally made me realize that burnout isn't just about being tired. It's about the complete depletion of your inner reserves. It's when you feel like you've become a shell of yourself. 3. The misconceptions about self-care. It's not just bubble baths and journals. Before experiencing burnout, I thought self-care was a luxury. Occasional spa days, lighting candles, or taking long baths. While those things are wonderful, I realized that real self-care is about sustainable practices, boundaries, and deeply understanding your own limits. Self-care isn't something you squeeze into your Sunday evening. It's something you need to weave into your daily life. It's not always pretty or Instagram-worthy. Sometimes, self-care looks like saying no to things that would overwhelm you. Sometimes it means going to therapy, taking your vitamins, or confronting habits that are draining you. I learned that self-care is less about temporary relief and more about long-term preservation. It's the boring, consistent things like getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, managing your workload, and creating space for yourself to just be. 4. Rebuilding through boundaries, learning to say no without guilt. One of the hardest yet most valuable lessons burnout taught me was the importance of setting boundaries. I used to associate no with failure, rejection, or laziness. I didn't want to disappoint anyone, so I often overcommitted. But burnout showed me that without boundaries, I was constantly betraying myself. I had to learn that saying no isn't a selfish act, it's a necessary one. It's how you protect your energy and ensure that you can show up fully for the things that truly matter. I began practicing small no's, turning down extra projects, stepping away from social events I wasn't excited about, and carving out quiet, phone-free evenings for myself. It was uncomfortable at first, but each boundary I set slowly stitched me back together. It gave me breathing space. I discovered that the people who truly care about you won't abandon you because you've chosen to protect your peace. 5. The gentle art of rest. Redefining productivity. Burnout also shattered my warped view of productivity. I used to believe that resting was a waste of time, that I always had to be doing something tangible to feel worthy. Rest felt indulgent, lazy even. But when I hit burnout, my body forced me to rest. I had no choice. And in that rest, I found an unexpected kind of healing. Rest isn't passive. It's deeply active in restoring your nervous system, your creativity, your emotional balance. I began to experiment with different types of rest. Slow morning rituals, mindful walks without my phone, midday pauses to breathe, and even lying in bed without trying to fill the silence. I realized that a well-rested version of myself was far more capable, inspired, and balanced than the overworked version. Rest became my sacred responsibility, not something to be earned after I've exhausted myself. 6. Reconnecting with joy. How play and pleasure healed me. When I was burnt out, I lost my connection to joy. Every day felt like a transaction. Do this, achieve that, check the next box. I forgot what it felt like to do things simply because they made me happy. So I started intentionally weaving playfulness and pleasure back into my life, even in the smallest ways. I reread books that comforted me as a child. I picked up watercolor painting with zero expectations. I danced around my room to music from my teenage years. These small acts weren't about skill or achievement, they were about presence and delight. I began to remember that life isn't supposed to be an endless performance. Joy, in its purest form, became my quiet rebellion against burnout culture. I learned that prioritizing joy isn't frivolous. It's a survival skill. It's what keeps you human in a world that constantly asks you to be a machine. 7. The power of slowing down. Moving from hustle to intentional living. One of the most profound shifts I experienced was the move from hustling to living intentionally. Before burnout, my life was all about speed, how quickly I could achieve things, how efficiently I could multitask, how much I could pack into a single day. But burnout cracked that illusion wide open. I realized I was missing my life in the name of getting ahead. I started slowing down, not just in my schedule, but in my mindset. I practiced savoring my morning coffee instead of rushing it. I took the scenic route instead of the fastest one. I allowed myself to move at a pace that felt sustainable, rather than impressive. Slowing down gave me the chance to actually experience my life, to notice the texture of ordinary moments, and to align my actions with what truly mattered to me. I wasn't interested in chasing a perfectly curated life anymore. 8. Self-compassion, the most important lesson. Burnout taught me, above all, the irreplaceable value of self-compassion. I used to be so hard on myself, relentless, critical, demanding. I thought the only way to succeed was to push myself to the edge. But in burnout, I met my most fragile self, the part of me that needed tenderness, not punishment. I began speaking to myself like I would to a dear friend, gently, kindly, with patience. I stopped measuring my worth by my productivity. I forgave myself for not having all the answers, for needing rest, for not being perfect. Self-compassion became the foundation of my self-care journey. It reminded me that I am already enough, even when I'm resting, even when I'm healing, even when I'm simply existing. Burnout was painful, but it gave me the most valuable gift, the permission to love myself as I am. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up, leave a comment, and click the button to subscribe.